He was just.
All right. Welcome to another episode of the New York Power Hour here on Best Damn Sports. I'm Ash, your host for the evening, along with Peter, Ram, not Jeff, maybe Luke. I don't know. What are you guys doing tonight? What's up?
Ready to get into another wonderful New York Power Hour.
How are your Jets? How are they looking? What do you think, Peter?
Well, have you ever seen what roadkill looks like?
I guess.
Then you pretty much know what the Jets look like then.
Luke, how are the Rangers doing? Did they break the record yet?
They did. Well, they broke the record the other night. Yeah, I mean, they're 3 straight games at home, not scoring a single goal. But apparently when they go on the road, they can win games. I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
3 straight games, shut out in all 3.
And I think the worst part is that we got shut out by the Oilers, right?
I mean, Stu Skinner, this is a goalie that has been benched for performance in the postseason the last 2 years. So,
and you look at the stat line in the game. I think we had 31 shots, like 31 shots against Stu Skinner. Like, I feel like a couple have to trickle in. Do you disagree? Like, as an Oilers fan, like, do you disagree?
I mean, you would think it's Stu Skinner in that.
Exactly.
I mean,
can we get Igor some help, please? That poor man.
He's the best goalie in the league right now. He is by far the best goalie in the league right now.
I don't think so. He was awful in the Calgary game.
What cap? No. We're talking about Igor. We're not talking
I
about
thought you were talking about
this
Stu.
This is Ash. This is the New York Power Hour. This is New York Power Hour. We're going to talk about.
I thought he was going to
make Maple Leafs background.
I thought he was trying to make excuses for the Rangers' ineptitude.
I just want to say this is 2 weeks in a row where we have Oilers jersey, we have Toronto Maple Leafs background, and we have a Vegas Golden Knights t-shirt. Like, we are just killing it with New York representation here.
Yeah. I mean, I know we weren't going to originally start off with hockey, but it looks like we kind of floated.
We can talk about hockey. The short's Puerto Rican too, so like that doesn't count for anything. But like Lindor's Puerto Rican, so it's fun.
Good.
Yeah.
But I mean, so the Rangers are going to face the Leafs at home tomorrow night, and unlucky for the Leafs, they're not coming to New York to play them because I guess they get an automatic win if they came down to face the Rangers at MSG so far. But this is it's not been fun actually watching the Rangers. I tune in a few games just kind of see what's going on, and is it just an NHL record? Is it a modern day record? Because I saw they have no goals at home. First 3 games, has that never happened before?
I don't believe it's ever happened before. And you've got the Islanders at 0-3, so the New York hockey scene is struggle city right now. I guess the Devils may count. I'm not sure. What do you guys think? Do the Devils count as a New York team?
I think
I can tell you after last week, the Buffalo Sabres do not count. Buffalo is off the list for New York sports team after supporting the Toronto Blue Jays. So thank you, Buffalo Bills. You have just wiped out all of Buffalo from the New York Power Hour. Great job.
I will say that's actually I was going to kind of bring it up in a different way, Luke. We have the conversation if Bills are a New York team. It's interesting we never have that conversation with the Sabres.
Nobody likes the Sabres.
The Sabres don't even like the Sabres.
Yeah,
I know, but it's just like, they're a New York team. How come nobody fights for them?
When was the last time the Sabres were relevant in the NHL? I mean,
I can't remember.
Have the Sabres been relevant in anything ever?
They were when they had Ryan Miller years ago. I mean, there was I want to say just before 2010, the Sabres were good. Actually, let me say this: the Sabres, really cool name. Like one of my
yes,
favorite.
It sounds like a cool name. Like
super cool name. But no, they haven't been relevant. And hockey pundits have always been like, "Oh, this is the year that Buffalo is going to squeak into the playoffs," and they just don't make the playoffs. Ash, are you looking up when the last time the Buffalo Sabres made the playoffs?
No. I can look it up though.
Speaking
I think it's been over a decade. I think it's been
I think it's got to be the Jets are the team that, and this is not even just to down on like us because we hate the Jets.
2010, 2011.
I think the Jets have gone the longest without in like the major sports without making the playoffs.
They have.
Right?
Yes. The Dolphins have the longest playoff win drought.
Yeah, because they can't win. The Dolphins have made it, but then they just like end up getting spanked,
They've
right?
won the division. Yeah, that's cool. Everybody loved that.
God help me.
The Lions used to have that record, and then we broke that curse. That was really great. You guys remember that?
Congratulations.
If we get a guy like, I think Dan Campbell's kind of the type of guy that really can invigorate an organization. I say that with love and no sarcasm. Like Dan Campbell's the type. I was watching the pregame for I think it was Thursday's game or whatever the Lions game was on recent,
Sunday
right?
Night football,
Sunday night. I was watching the pregame and just listening to Dan Campbell talk, and I was saying that, like, objectively, if I came into watching football and didn't have a team, and you just showed me like 20 minutes of Dan Campbell talking about the Lions, I'd want to run through a wall for Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine how like his team feels, right? I mean that sincerely. Like legitimately, this dude loves all of his guys so much, and he loves football, and he trusts his guys in the way that he plays that I want to run through a wall for Dan Campbell, and I'm neutral about the Lions. I've been fine with them because young Matthew Stafford is really cool, but I respect Dan Campbell. But to turn it onto the New York talk, right? Disciple of Campbell, of course, and Glenn was supposed to come over here to the Jets and maybe change the culture, right? And I don't have any particular hate against Aaron Glenn yet. But in terms of starting off, right? Man, you could not have asked for a worse start because the players are underperforming, and is what it is, right? But I guess like we're used to watching the players underperform with the Jets. It's not like some kind of shocker to think that the Jets are putting on a bad on-field product. What bothers me the most, and I talked about it for a couple of weeks ago, and it's going to come up again, is that the penalties, the discipline, the effort, the game plan, it honestly just feels like nothing has changed. And it's really frustrating to watch because this is another game that just went by here, this one in London, that on paper and in practice, the way that the game played out, they could have won that game again, and they found a way to snatch a loss from the jaws of victory. And it's really frustrating because you can't fire every single person. You can't send them all to a firing squad and remove them, but you can't. It's just not a viable option.
And the Jets aren't a viable organization.
I understand in today's political climate, it seems like, but it's still illegal. It's still illegal to do something like that. We can't just firing squad all the guys because we don't like them. But it's getting real hard because here we are again. This Jets-Broncos game is a game that they could have won on paper. They held their ground defensively. It was a shitty game on both sides. They could have won. They didn't win. They could have won against the Steelers. They didn't win. They could have won against the Dolphins. They didn't win. And it's getting to the point where I might just have to start looking at the goddamn draft and start looking about if the Jets are going to guarantee themselves the number one pick and if we're taking a quarterback. But that still doesn't fix the problems necessarily.
No, it does not fix the problems. In fact, I am fairly confident that if the Jets do, in fact, get a quarterback, they are going to royally fuck it up and pick the wrong one. Or they're going to pick the correct one. Or they're going to pick the correct one. And he's not going to be good until he leaves the Jets, like what happened with Sam Darnold. So I don't even really know where to begin on the Jets talk. I guess I'll start mainly on the game. I will be honest. Before this game, I was not on the let's fire everyone bandwagon, but now I am. I'm going to add a picture here to the screen. So at the end of the game, the Jets had an opportunity to kick a field goal to win the game, and they decided since our offense has been so bad, let's give them another opportunity to just be bad. And Aaron Glenn didn't know that it was going to be a 62-yard field goal. He thought it'd be a 68 or a 65. The fact that you don't know the field goal length that you're going to kick at the end, that's a terrible job. And even if that's not necessarily the job of the head coach, those are the people you've chosen to hire as your assistants. They're not doing a good job. At the end of the first half, probably even worse game management. Garrett Wilson was very frustrated. He had an exchange on the sidelines with Aaron Glenn at the end of the first half. He didn't know what the game plan was. Once he figured it out, he was disappointed. Like for them to just, and Aaron Glenn was like, yeah, we were basically just running down the clock. When you had 3 timeouts. You could have tried to get, a closer range, kick a field goal, score 3 more points, and get the ball back in the second half, which incidentally, either if you kick a field goal and score them, one of the 2 times you should have, you win the game.
And that's what you play to do. You play to win the game.
And then on top of that, you have your quarterback, Justin Wilson, who I was told on the show several times I should be excited about.
Justin Fields.
No, he doesn't. I don't care what his name is. He hasn't earned the right to get the correct name from me yet. This is the type of performance that we have from our quarterback. Look at these. You have 2 wide open receivers. You get sacked. You want to know how many yards he threw in this last game? Do you guys know?
I guess? Wait, can I venture a guess?
Yes, Luke, please give.
Is it negative 10 yards? Was that his?
Wow, it's exactly negative 10.
Wow.
Congratulations, all of us 4 and dear viewers at home. You had a better game as quarterback of the New York Jets last Sunday, just by doing nothing. You had a better game. But I was supposed to be excited.
What about Mark Sanchez? Did he have a better game?
Mark Sanchez,
he's probably had a better weekend.
Yes, Mark Sanchez. Surprisingly, he got stabbed, got arrested, and still had a better weekend at quarterback than Justin Fields. If anything, I think that this just goes to show how good of a coach that Mike Tomlin is, that he was able to get anything out of this man in Pittsburgh. The biggest issue is even if Aaron Glenn is the guy or not. Granted, it's super early, 6 games. He had probably the worst showing you could have in last game. But just to give you a general idea of the ineptitude of the New York Jets franchise, the AFC East, where the Jets play in, has been around in some form since 1960. In that time, the New England Patriots have 22 wins of the division. The Bills have 14. The Dolphins have 13. The Indianapolis Colts have 6. The Houston Oilers have 4. And the New York Jets have 4. The Houston Oilers have not been in that division since 1969, and the Indianapolis Colts have not been in the division since 2002. You have 2 teams that have not been in, they're not in the division anymore, that have more division wins than you.
Look, I see your face. He's not lying.
That is not actual
fact that has been quoted for years. He is 100% right. That's not a lie.
No, I'm not questioning it. I'm absolutely not questioning it. It's so funny.
Fields, for the record, threw for 45 yards. By the way, if you want to hate him, we can be like normal about it.
He threw for 45. It was negative, but it was the total of negative. No,
I just want to address the idea of like that every non-professional football player threw for more. If you threw for 45 or 46 yards out there and you're non-professional, talk to me. I'll put you on video on the Sports Power Hour. But he did throw for 45 yards.
He had negative 10 at the end of the day, so it doesn't matter.
He had 40. The team net negative for passing is negative 10 because of the sacks. But
yes. Because he holds on to the ball way too damn long. Look at this. Look at this. You could make that throw.
No, so here's the thing, and this is why. No,
yes,
I can't.
I believe in
cannot. This is also why. No, I can't. Okay, I actually think, and this is not for me to go out and say that Justin Fields is a guy that's going to win you a title, because I don't think he will. Right? But there's definitely, I think, a lack of understanding of the personnel the Jets have and how to use them. Because if you look at this too, right? If you think about the way the Jets are constructed, you know that your impact players are Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson got injured. You know that Breece Hall's an impact player, right? I am not working for a football team, so sometimes I say things that might sound really stupid. But here's my logic when I look at football. If you have impact players, you want them to touch the ball. And if you're not working in running back screens or more plays to get Breece Hall into the game, knowing he's one of your most dynamic players, then I'm going to get mad at the coordinators too. Because where along the lines are you saying, all right, we know this guy's dynamic. He's recovered from his injuries. We know that the Jets do better when he does well. You're not scheming the ball to him. I mean, and then also there are moments that it feels like, and this is referring to like what Garrett Wilson was saying and stuff like that, the Jets are effectively neutering Justin Fields too. This is an 0-6 team. You might as well let him do whatever the fuck he can. And I mean this sincerely. Like, at the end of the day, why are you're not going to help anything by neutering Justin Fields. Let him throw a deep ball. Let him be creative on offense, because I feel like you're holding him into a situation where, Peter, if you bring that image back up for me, the sack one, because
I would love to.
Yeah, so like logically for me, this should be an easy one, right? And I feel like the way that they're scheming things, they're not working with him. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing. Now, granted, I don't want Fields to be our quarterback next year. I'm not going to sit here and defend that, right? I do think they're going to end up with the number one pick. They're going to draft somebody. But my further issue, I think, is that if there's no signs of life, if the penalties are still going to be a problem, if this is a team that still has a bad situation on offensive coordination where they're calling bad plays, even with the right quarterback, they're still going to suck. And so this is frustrating because there's a lot of talent somewhere on this team, and I feel like it's not being utilized. I mean, Mason Taylor has looked pretty solid to me over the last couple games as a young tight end that could turn into something. And at the end of the day, it's just frustrating because I don't know what the exact move is. If you figure it out and you get a quarterback next year, do you keep your coaching staff? Because they're not really putting me in a situation that I'm confident in them. But at the same time, we've fired and rehired guys so many times that it's not like, all right, cool, this is the fifth fire and hire or something. I don't know if that's going to work. You do have to give some consistency. It sucks because this is one of the most poorly run situations I've seen in all professional sports. And there's too many things to fix, and I don't even know where to start.
No, Ram, listen, as far as penalties go, overall, you are correct. But in this game, they only had 2 penalties for 15 yards. The penalties were not the issue on Sunday.
My issue also was with the game plan was terrible, and the moments that Fields had were also terrible. Like, he was bad. And yes. I thought the game plan was bad. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be fair that I think both sucked. Like, he sucked and the game plan sucked. And so there was no room for bailout on either side.
And the absolute just complete, like, I'm sorry, Justin Fields should have been benched during that game. You have Tyrod Taylor. You brought him in as a normal, capable backup. When the coach was asked about it after the game, he basically scoffed at the idea like it was a stupid question. No, Justin Fields should have been benched. He should not have. Yes. He should not have come out.
And he has been. I mean, it's not like Tyrod hadn't seen the field earlier in the year, right? So and this is not a developmental situation where you're hoping Fields is your guy and you invested draft picked in him. You put a contract in and that's it. The point of it being, I agree with you 100% on that. That like if there was any game to say, all right, Justin doesn't have it today, we're going to send out somebody else and just fucking hope. It might have been Tyrod Taylor. Fine. Maybe Tyrod Taylor wins in that game in one quarter. Realistically, I do think so. It almost feels like they've already internally decided that, we're going to tank to get that number one pick to guarantee ourselves a quarterback, and they're going to be looking ahead. And of course, the funniest thing of this all is that the 2026 draft class is notoriously one of the worst draft classes we've had in a while, quarterback or otherwise. So it would be, I think, amusingly the most Jetsian thing to see that they're finally going to take a new quarterback, and it's going to be in the weakest quarterback draft we've had in years.
Well, hey, don't bad talk Mendoza out of IU. Like,
Mendoza is one of the two guys that might end up with the Jets. I mean, it's very possible this is a guy that's going number one.
Well, you know what, Ram, jokes on you because there's we all know what's going to happen. The Jets are going to win 2 meaningless games at the end of the year and probably end up with like the 5th pick. So they'll get an even worse quarterback. I
think it's him and Dante Moore right now, right? It's him and Dante Moore that are in discussion for the 2 quarterbacks that might get taken in the top 10. Because I mean, it's really
Manning
funny.
Fell off the cliff. So
yeah, Arch Manning has Arch
Manning's not going. Arch Manning's not going to the draft. He's going to.
Yeah, I'm going to say Arch Manning is not going in this year, right?
No. He's going to stay his full time and collect all of his NIL money.
Well, unless he plays like he did the first few weeks of the season, then Texas is not going to keep him around.
Exactly.
But here's my last point I want to make on the Jets, and then, by God, let's please change the topic because I'll get super pressed.
I mean, it could be worse. You could be the Bills. Like,
Just stop it. Please
stop it. I turned that game off in like the second quarter this week.
Stop. Please stop.
It's a good thing they don't have a game this
Please
weekend
stop
because
it.
I don't know if I'd even watch.
Oh my god.
So the New York Jets have not made the playoffs since 2010. I was a sophomore.
I mean, the Bills may have well not. They couldn't even keep a
Oh my
lead
God,
with like.
stop.
10
Ash, you need to
seconds.
stop. The plight of the Jets is not comparable to the plight of the Buffalo Bills right
I
now.
wish I had your plight. Please give me Josh Allen. Anyway, the Jets have not made the playoffs since 2010. I was a sophomore in high school. I'm now 30 years old. I started watching the Jets in 2006, and the worst part is like a lot of people can blame their dad or whatever. Their dad got them into it. My dad's not a Jets fan. My dad barely cares about football. I chose this by myself, like the biggest idiot you can be.
Well, it goes.
Growing
It's
up-
like Mets and Jets. It
Yeah,
seems like
right.
they
Yeah,
go hand
I
in
know
hand.
that feeling because I chose both,
So-
and neither of my family are American sports
Listen,
fans. I feel you.
Growing up, it was always the Lions were the historically terrible team. They were the franchise that everyone measured themselves to feel better about themselves. Now look at them. 2 years ago, they had that amazing playoff run. They beat the crap out of their own quarterback, Stafford. They beat Baker, who's probably going to win MVP this year. And they've really turned around their entire team. And how did that start? New ownership. There's a change of ownership up at the top, which Sheila Ford handled. Pretty much the entire time I've been a Jets fan, it's been Woody Johnson. If not the entire time, it's been Woody Johnson as the owner. Clearly, he's not fit to be the owner. The NFL is not like MLB or NBA where you dominate. It's very much a parity league all the time. Even if the Browns have made the playoffs, you have these dog shit teams, these dog shit franchises that have occasionally accidentally been good. The Jets haven't. So honestly, nothing's going to change until Woody Johnson sells the team. It's just going to keep being like this, and I will continue to wear this hat as a beacon of hope, not to myself, but to others. So if they're just feeling downtrodden and bad about themselves, they can look at me and they can be like, well, at least I'm not a fucking Jets fan. My life could be worse. So I do this for you.
You're such a martyr, Peter. You're
Thank
such a martyr.
Thank you.
You bring up you bring up the Lions, and I sympathize, I empathize with you because all those years of just being beat down, and then I think the worst part is when you're given expectations and the team just falls flat on its face, and you feel like you're cursed, right? You feel like you're cursed year after year. I want to give you some hope. I really want to give you some hope, Peter. And I know it's the New York Power Hour, but I just want to say 2021, Dan Campbell takes over in Detroit, right? They start off the season 0-8. 0-8. They didn't win a game until week 10. Sorry, no. Week 13, Peter. Week 13, they didn't win a single game. It takes time. It takes time to implement the system, to get yourself acquainted with the city, with the team, with ownership. They're going to figure it out. If Aaron Glenn is truly a disciple of Dan Campbell and has just a little sprinkle of what Dan Campbell can offer, I believe that there's going to be a turnaround. It's not going to be swift, and it's not going to be quick, but there will be a turnaround in New York, and not on the Giants facility, in the Jets facility. I promise you that.
I wish I could believe you.
I gotta be honest, I don't even believe you. But you mentioned the Giants, and I think that's also part of what makes it a little more frustrating is that at the very least, right? And maybe it's because the Eagles offensive coordinator sucks. And I said that in the first week, and the 3 Eagles guys in BDS were like, Ram, you're really stupid. And I'm like, nope, that Eagles offensive coordinator is really bad. They're like, nope, you're stupid. And here we are. And it's been a few weeks, and I'd like to revisit that because the Eagles offensive coordinator is bad. And the Eagles look pretty bad. And that's part of why they got stomped by the Giants. But another part of that is because they drafted Jackson Dart over on the Giants side, and he's looked at least serviceable. Now, putting aside the fact that the Jackson Dart and Cam Scadaboo play like they're going to be retiring from the league at the end of the year, and they're trying to hit the league high in concussions, there is a very exciting brand of football going on in the world of the Giants, and I respect it because Jackson Dart's an interesting guy. I kind of enjoy his like humble brag, like trying to be humble, but he's clearly impressed by the smell of his own farts personality. And you can't disrespect Cam Scatabo because he's looking for contact, which is the worst thing a running back can do, but the damn man is strong and he's powering through it. Like I'm saying things in jest, but to go up and face the Eagles and beat them in a game that they were heavily underdogs, I mean, that takes some swagger. That takes a lot of, chutzpah, whatever you want to call it. It was a good goddamn win for the Giants, and I got to respect that. And it's not just about the Eagles looking lost. They're 2-4 now. And yeah, the Commanders are going to get back on track because Jaden Daniels is there, and he hasn't looked superb, but he still looks serviceable. But the Giants aren't pushovers. And this is a big deal because Malik Neighbors went down for the season. And the worst thing that could, if you think about this logistically and why it almost feels worse on the Jets side, right? Losing your star wide receiver and being thrust into the starting role earlier than expected for Jackson Dart. Those two things could have easily been writing off the season for Jackson Dart. And he has a rookie running back. He's a solid rookie running back, but it's like you've got a rookie running back, your star receiver's down, you got thrust into the role early, right? And you've got a coach who's pressuring you to win or he might get fired in Brian Daboll. So there's a lot on Jackson Dart's shoulders, and he was able to figure it out and played a really good game. Honestly, and I mean, Scatabo rushed for 3 TDs against supposedly a vaunted Eagles defense. Like, I want to sit there and screw around and make jokes, but like, that's a great win for the Giants against the Philadelphia Eagles. And Jets fans don't really like the Eagles either. I mean, they're from Philadelphia, so it's not like we're sitting there like, oh no, please think of Philadelphia. We're like, screw it, the Eagles lost. That's hilarious. So, good for the Giants fans over there. But if you guys caught anything of Dart or Scatabo or what's going on over on the other side of New York, what do you have to say about that one, folks?
I think it's actually pretty exciting because I saw both of those guys in college quite a bit. Jackson Dart playing at Ole Miss in the SEC. I watched a lot of their games. I watched Scatabo over at Arizona State quite a bit because they were on late night games. So, and you guys know that I watched a lot of college football. And those two guys were electric to watch on the field. And so I think the Giants kind of got a steal in the draft by getting both of those guys. So I think that there's got to be a lot to look forward to if you're a Giants fan in having those two offensive weapons that could be kind of like the cornerstone of your offense for the next 10 years or something.
Yeah, I mean, I said it post draft. I said it in training camp. I thought drafting Jackson Dart and Cam Scatabo was going to be a game changer for the Giants. They have a good defense. Their secondary is a little beat up, but their front seven is, I think, one of the best in the NFL. And I think a lot of people give Jackson Dart a hard time about his arrogance, but I mean, he's done nothing but back it up, right? I mean, he's 2-1 since becoming a starter, and those weren't 2 pushover wins. You beat the Los Angeles Chargers and you beat the Philadelphia Eagles. And you look at his stat line. I mean, it's over 50 yards rushing in all 3 games. It's what was it? I mean, he's completing 65% of his passes. He 202, 195. He's getting the job done. I mean, he's getting the job done. And he's having fun. Like, we talk about it in baseball. It's like, let the kids play. Like, let them play. Like, if he's winning, like, let Jackson be Jackson, right? Like we talked about Baker years ago in Cleveland, and Cleveland just would not let Baker be Baker. And it's like, now he's in Tampa, and Tampa is absolutely absorbing his personality. And here he is playing an MVP type season. Like, let Jackson be Jackson. If he's winning games, like, let him be arrogant. Like, let him show his personality. Like, I love it. And this is the energy that the Giants need. Like Graham says, it sucks that Neighbors is out, but I mean, he's rising to the occasion. And, and the other thing too is, I mean, he easily could have turned around after that Saints game, big interceptions, big fumbles, and comes back and beats the Eagles, right? Like, he's learning how to be an NFL quarterback. I give Brian Daboll a lot of credit for starting Jackson Dart against the Eagles after the total meltdown against the Saints. and just believes in him and lets him be an NFL quarterback. So I really hope the Giants embrace Jackson Dart and who he is and what he brings to the table.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that there's a position in any sport that you can be a cocky asshole and it work out well for you like quarterback. So I mean, if that's just his personality, you got to let him shine. And then you have Cam Scatabo there, like three touchdowns, 98 yards against the Eagles. I don't care how bad the Eagles might actually be this season, to do that against the defense. Let we forget they won the Super Bowl last year, like, and you beat the shit out of him. Like, that's super impressive. Like, this man probably already has CTE and is probably only going to be around for like 3 years. But my God, is it exciting and fun to watch?
Yeah, I mean, Cam might have been the only guy that was drafted into the league with predetermined CTE, but like, I respect him, and your point is absolutely valid, right? Like, the defending Super Bowl champions, of which that defense won them the game against the Kansas City Chiefs, right? And rookie Cam Scatabo just came in there and shredded them. And this is the Giants' top receiver in that game was Wan'Dale Robinson. I mean, like, we got to be honest. You look at a 34-17 victory. This is not some, like, gutsy Jalen Hurts threw 4 interceptions thing. The Giants' offense just held their ground and put up numbers and beat the shit out of them on prime time.
Yeah.
And that's – I have to give them credit for that. I mean, I know they're going to play the Eagles hard. I knew that it was going to be a tough game. The betting lines were really amusing because, I mean, it was like over a touchdown spread, and the Eagles were like a minus 400 at one point because they thought, okay, especially after that Saints game, and to Luke's point, it was really, they stuck to Dart. Dabo went out there and said, nope, you're my quarterback, go out there. And it was such a night and day thing for me because, as a Saints fan, so I watched that Saints Giants game, and it was really funny because that looked like a matter of like, all right, maybe Jackson Dart needs like a little seasoning, right? And then you look at that game directly after against a much more vaunted defense in the Eagles, and it's like, no, apparently the Saints are good. Now, that's not the takeaway here because the Saints are not good. The takeaway is that they've got something going on, whether it be, I mean, to the point of what both of you are saying too, maybe it is the arrogance that they're responding to, right? Like, football is a very emotional game. Teams rally around like that. At the end of the day, it is an impressive performance, right? I mean, they're going into a game on Sunday against Denver, right? And Denver, in my opinion, it could have been London. It could have been a few things, but Bo Nix and overall Denver has not looked that impressive. Their defense is still very strong, but I can't imagine that the Giants are sitting there in their locker room and preaching anything other than this is a winnable game for us, right? I mean, a less respected defense right now in the Jets held them to 13. Bo Nix, again, has been underperforming all year, and you just dropped 34 on the Eagles. The Giants have got to be sitting there thinking, we can beat this Denver team, and going to be encouraging themselves. They're going to Denver and want to just punch them in the mouth. And then right after that, what do they get? They get to go to Philadelphia and rematch Philly again. So they don't even get to look too far past it. I feel like this is kind of a situation that could actually lead the Giants to building some momentum, and good for Jackson Dart in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, it's, and they're playing with no expectations either. Like, it's all house money. I will say I was wrong. I thought that Dart should sit a whole year, and because you don't really have anything to lose. But like, man, if he's playing like this, they obviously made the right decision. I mean, Dabo loves him so much so that he went into the blue tent. He's gonna get a hell of a fine for doing that. But like, if you're a Giants fan, you can't ask for much more than this. Like, you really didn't have much expectations with Russell Wilson as your quarterback going into the season, and the fact that they're just playing fun, watchable football that's all you can ask for.
Yeah, on the Jets side, I think that's all I was hoping for is fun, watchable football, and they've been able to do neither of those things.
They gave it to you guys week one. Like, week one was such a tease.
I think that's also what's frustrating too, Luke, though, because you tied into the fact of, like, if there's expectations for the team, it hurts more, right? Like, I didn't even expect them to have anything close to a 500 record this year going in to watch the Jets. But I want to watch every game. I want to see what they would do with Fields. I want to see how Breece Hall looked, Garrett Wilson, the guys that I thought were going to be parts of the future anyway, right? The non-Fields part of the future. And to see that in certain, I mean, and you even mentioned, Peter, yes, there weren't that many penalties in this game. That's great. I'm hoping it continues because it just feels like I cannot imagine this team is like dedicated to losing. Almost. It almost feels like they're being paid to lose because they could have won multiple games this season. I mean, I mentioned just looking at their schedule, right? That Tampa Bay game they could have won, the Miami game they could have won, the Pittsburgh game they could have won, and the Denver game they could have won. So this could have actually been a team that could be 4-2, which is ridiculous, right? Because they haven't played that way. They played closer to an 0-16 than they have to a 4-2 team. But that game it was a 34-32 for Pittsburgh, 29-27 for Tampa, 27-21, so a touchdown, but the other two were field goal, and this one 13-11. So they were a touchdown and 3 field goals away from being 4-2. So there's a part of me that wants to say, like, there's something here, but it's hard, right? Like, I can't wrap my head around as to why, and you're too new into it too, Peter, but I just can't believe, like, right now. I don't know if it's just years of watching the Jets, if I'm being honest, and we know better, right? But it's just, if you had told me they'd play 4 out of their 6 games to a 1-score margin, I'd be like, okay, cool, that's competitive football. But the product on the field has been far different than that, objectively.
I mean, here's the main thing. These numbers are deceiving. A lot of those points that the Jets scored were in garbage time when the game was basically already over and the other team took out their starters. So, like as a Garrett Wilson fantasy owner, last week, no, but the 2 weeks before that, he got a garbage time touchdown in the last 5 minutes, saving his year. It's like, if you look at his points, you think he's having a fantastic year. He's not really getting the ball. They score on backup defenses. So it's like, honestly, from watching the Jets and watching other teams, I can honestly say that the Jets are definitely the 32nd team in the NFL, and the gap between 32 and 31 is a lot farther than 31 and 1.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And this is also a weird year for the NFL in general. I mean, as Ash mentioned, the Bills have lost, 2 in a row. They have not looked that sharp, right? The Patriots have Drake May. They're supposed to suck, but the Ravens are a 1-win team. And
Lamar's hurt. Let's give.
I know, but I mean,
were losing games before he got hurt.
Yeah,
Lamar was hurt, but then you had the really close game, week 1. And then you had the close game against the Lions in Monday Night Football. They had the close game against the Chiefs. Like it was tough losses for them. It's not like they were getting blown out and they were a 1-3 team before Lamar got hurt, right?
Yeah, Luke just named 3 of the best teams in the NFL.
Right, but you also got to think about, like, even if Lamar comes back and plays the majority of the season, right? If they don't make the playoffs, that's still a really rough situation to be in because they're 1-5 right now. Pittsburgh is 4-1, I think, right? So they're in a situation that they have a very uphill challenge situation to get into the playoffs, even if Lamar comes back after the bye.
Yeah,
and don't give me hope for it.
They're in a division that is also wide open, right? Like you have the Cleveland Browns who haven't had a quarterback since Baker Mayfield. You have the Bengals who were starting Jake Browning and now starting Joe Flacco at quarterback. I don't know when Joe Burrow is coming back. Yeah, I have to assume it's not before.
It's going to be week 15 or something like that.
Yeah, I was thinking it was December sometime.
For what it's worth, by the way, the Bengals have a win more than the Ravens right now. Even considering their circumstances,
look at the Bengals schedule versus who the Ravens had to face, and then you have the Steelers. I mean, the Steelers are always going to be consistently slightly above 500. So Is there a chance that the Ravens can turn around? Absolutely.
Does John Harbaugh lose his job after the
Absolutely, yes. If they don't make the playoffs, I think he's out.
Well, then I'm rooting for the Ravens not to make the playoffs and for the Jets to hire him next year. Please, God.
I think he could be out even if they make the playoffs this year.
I think there could be an argument. I think the number of first round knockouts that they've had since their Super Bowl run, like, it's just not cutting it.
I mean, let's see. I'm going to put up the playoff thing too as we're talking about it. I'm not including the Dolphins, the Browns, the Titans, and the Jets because none of those teams are making the playoffs.
What do you mean? The Titans are going to make the playoffs.
So none of those teams are making the playoffs. So we're going to ignore that. And we're going to take a quick look over here. So this is what we're looking at right now with I mean, I agree with what the circumstances for the Ravens, right? But it's going to be a tough slog to get in there right now because if some of these teams up there hold up, like the Chargers and the Steelers, right? And even the Patriots for some godforsaken reason, if that can happen, if that can hold up, if Denver holds up, they're still 4-2. They've got a really tough road to try to. I mean, they're behind the Raiders and the Bengals right now, and the Texans.
Yeah,
who's the Colts being 5-1?
Nobody.
No
absolutely
one.
Nobody.
No one had Indiana Jones.
Not even Daniel Jones. Yeah, not even Daniel Jones thought he looks at that and he's like, "Am I playing Madden? What happened? He does not." I don't know. And I'm happy for Daniel Jones. Good for him. But
I think it's funny.
Some people, it just adds to the narrative. You just have to get out of New York as a quarterback to start playing well. Like Sam Darnold, Geno Smith, and it used to be a Jets thing, but I think it's just something that's going on in East Rutherford.
I'm glad that Daniel Jones is actually quarterbacking well over there for the Colts, though, because of that exactly, Luke. Because it used to be just a Jets thing, and now it's literally no, it's MetLife. MetLife is cursed. But if Jackson Dart can stay healthy, which as much as I joke, I want him to stay healthy and he's exciting and he's good for football. If he can be good, maybe he can break that trend. And if he takes it on his shoulders to break the trend, then maybe we get Fernando next year in a Jets uniform and maybe the Jets figure something out. Who the hell knows? But no, this is an interesting playoff scene for me because I mean, what are we'd be seeing top 6 going, right? If I remember correctly, we get 2 buys and then all right. So I mean, the Colts look like they're gonna. I'm kind of hoping, just for the sake of the fact that it's chaotic, that they can kind of hold a 1 or 2 seed going forward. I respect what they're doing. Pittsburgh's always going to be above 500, just as Luke said. I agree with that because as long as Mike Tomlin's there, they're just going to figure something out. So, but there's a chance here. I mean, Jacksonville, although Trevor Lawrence has not been the best fantasy quarterback, they have won games. So we're going to have an interesting little dance towards the end there. And I mean, Kansas City is 3-3 on the outskirts, but they getting back Rashee Rice this week. I have no doubt that they're going to make the playoffs. I'm not really worried about.
They always have the refs on their side too, so it's.
I'm not worried about the Chiefs figuring that one out. No. I mean, and the same with the Bills. I don't. It's really funny to me though because I would never have bet on this 1-6 format. No. The Colts, Steelers, Chargers ahead of the Patriots, Bills, and Jaguars. The Chiefs and the Ravens on the outside. I'd be like, that's the worst joke I've ever heard.
I would not have. I would even say 1-4. I would have said 1-4. Maybe the Chargers at 3. Early in the season. I would have put. I mean, the Broncos are tied with them right now. So I don't know. Yeah, Chargers maybe the only non-surprise for me. But yeah, Indianapolis at 1, Pittsburgh at 2, and New England at 4. That's insane. Absolutely insane.
The Raiders there stand out to me because we kept hearing all summer about how they were going to be finally improved, and the season starts and it's just back to same old Raiders. And Peter, that's another franchise that could give the Jets a run for their money because the Raiders have been inept for the last 30 years outside of maybe 1 or 2 seasons.
Especially when they drafted Janikowski in the first round.
What was that, 95 or something?
Not a first-round pick, but great kicker.
Was he?
He was a great kicker.
Was he a third? What was he? What round pick was he? A third round pick or something?
I think he was.
No,
like
he was a first
pick.
round pick. He was legitimately a first round pick.
They actually did take him in the first.
Yeah, they did take him in the first round.
Okay,
and everybody made fun of them for it.
And people still do. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Here,
yes, one of only 5 NFL kickers to be selected in the first round of an NFL draft.
Insane. Absolutely.
The fact that 5 kickers have been selected in the first round of an NFL draft actually makes me more.
Yeah, but it's probably like in the 20s, like
1950s, where it's like, yeah, we won the game 6-3, and our kicker won us the game. Like, we need him. We need a guy in the first round.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna learn about that stuff later because, like, that's got to be. It's like you said, it's got to be something that didn't even actually.
Yeah, they drafted the kickers in the first round back when Rutgers was a good football team.
Oh, the Saints did it actually.
Yeah,
the Saints did it in 1979.
Was that the time before Janikowski then?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say because nobody did that.
I can't even imagine anyway, but moving past that, just to pop over onto the NFC side, I'm going to bring it up because we were talking about football playoffs. This is what we're looking at on the other side of the equation, where Baker Mayfield, as Peter mentioned, is having an outstanding year. And the Giants and the Saints are cut out of this image right now. The Cardinals have the same record as them and hold the tiebreak over them, so they're there. And the Cowboys Commanders down there. I mean, it's a little bit less murky on this side. I do think that the guys that are up there right now, and the Bucks, the Packers, the 49ers, the Eagles, the Seahawks, the Lions, will probably be the guys that make it. The Rams on their tail. The Falcons are not a bad team, which annoys the crap out of me, but they're probably not going to get past the Buccaneers and Baker Mayfield, even though they have no receivers. But
that's when Baker's at his best.
Yeah, that's what's going on over there.
Wait, how are the Packers ahead of the Lions?
The Packers are 3-1.
And one.
They didn't lose the second time.
So it goes by losses. It doesn't go by wins.
No, mathematically, win percentage, they're 70%.
Yeah,
all right, you get it? Yeah. But remember that they're also they have one.
We have a game in hand because they already took their bye.
Right. So if they win, however,
right. No,
they're definitively ahead of you.
Absolutely.
So you've got to be rooting against the Packers.
Oh, well, I'm never not rooting for the. Yeah, never not rooting for the Packers.
God help me. All right, well, to switch gears for a little bit, one quick thing going on in the baseball world, so we don't torment Luke more about the Yankees, is that the Mets did make 2 coaching hires this week, and one was internal and one was external. So the Mets went ahead and promoted the director of their minor league hitting organizational stuff, Jeff Albert, formerly a hitting coach for the Cardinals and formerly on the Houston Astros staff as well as a hitting coach. He got promoted to be at least the head of the hitting coach situation here for the Mets. They've also implied that they're going to look to get somebody secondary, sort of like what they did this year with Chavez and Barnes, where they're going to have a second person. And they tabbed over a guy that people think is going to be a future manager in the league, Kai Correa, who, coming from the Giants organization and coming from the Guardians organization, where he was their infield director, he's going to be the bench coach for Carlos Mendoza. I think it makes sense right off the bat. I mean, Jeff Albert's a guy that they're giving a lot of credit for what's going on with the Mets minor league hitting development. And as we've talked about ad nauseum on the show, their minor league development has been a source of strength. And so if they think this is the guy that helped Brett Beatty find his groove, that Francisco Alvarez found his groove, that helped turn Carson Bench into a bigger prospect, like these type of names, they're giving him credit for figuring these things out as part of the program. They think he's going to be able to do some stuff at the major league level. Fine. I'm okay with it. These guys are familiar with it. Makes sense to me. As for Kai Correa, I mean, if you're telling me a bench coach comes from infield drills and forcing guys to actually fucking feel the ball, fine. You know, I don't know too much about him yet, besides the fact that people seem to like him. I'm going to find out about more as time goes on. But so far, so good for me. I like that they're on it quickly. Peter, what say you?
Yeah, I do want to make it clear that while, yes, the Mets have said that they want to look for a second guy for hitting, they made it very clear that it will be in an assistant capacity. that they're not going to do any of the more stuff. I mean, listen, I can't sit here for most of last year and talk about wanting to fire Eric Chavez and not be excited that they hired a replacement, a guy that the core of this team already knows and had showed success with. In fact, Brett Beatty had a good season. When Rams got Brett Beatty on track, it didn't have a sarcastic comment to follow it up with. So it just seemed like a smart, easy hire. Sometimes I think Stearns likes to be the smartest guy in the room, but this was just a nice, simple hire. I think it makes a lot of sense. Also, the Mets did sign a player. First player they signed this year. I don't know if you guys heard. I'm definitely going to mispronounce his last name. Joe Jocks?
Yeah, Jocks. Jocks is
right.
right.
I did it right. Yeah. So, we're going to win the World Series. It's cool.
Yeah, they signed a lefty reliever to a non-major contract, which is what it is.
No, it's nothing. It's a debt signing.
No, but
yeah.
You're right. They did sign him. I was really interested in the Kai Correa side because with him being like Cleveland's director of like base running and defense and game strategy, I felt like Cleveland's a team that across the league, if you talk about fundamentals, if you think about doing the little things, especially with the ball like that, you do think of the Guardians. So for me, I'm like, that's a great thing coming from that organization, relatively holding them strong. They did have, I think they were ranked 5th in stolen bases, and they were a top half defense in MLB. I know a lot of that more so has to do with the players, but for me, it's just like, okay, good, right? I like that. And this is a guy that some of the league has set his tab as a potential managerial candidate. No offense to Carlos Mendoza, but I like that, right? Because if this is a guy that you're thinking could be a manager someday and Mendoza's on a short leash right now, if you're thinking this is a guy that you want to see in a managerial role, if you have this fear or thought of we might fire Mendoza mid-season, usually the bench coach steps up as the interim manager. So they're probably thinking, okay, we might have a chance to give this guy an extended interview if Mendoza doesn't work out. And if Mendoza does work out, maybe this guy helps with the infield defense and they stop botching the shit out of things. So for me overall, I'm actually pretty on board with the Kai Correa thing. And I'll give Jeff Albert some credit if he's been around for a while. He was around the Astros. I think an Astros reporter told me it was like 2018 when he was on their staff. So he was behind some of the guys like Evan Gattis and Bregman and those. So, overall, like, not a bad thing.
Yeah, Luke, I know you weren't there on that episode, but me and Ram talked about it extensively. David Stern's end of season press conference. He said it like 11 times. The Mets focus is going to be on run prevention. So you get a guy from Cleveland that they play very sound fundamental baseball. Makes perfect sense that you're already headed in that direction. So the interesting part is going to see is who is going to stay and who's going to go. I feel like this marks the end of Mark Vientos, pardon the pun. But we'll see what kind of moves we start making now that we're starting to get guys in place.
I will say one thing that is funny. You did mention that that Stearns likes to be the smartest guy in the room. I do think he has an interesting thing about tapping some guys he's met in the past because Jeff Albert and Stearns did work together in the Astros organization. So this might have been a thing of familiarity where Jeff Albert he spent 6 years with the Houston Astros, that he worked his way up to the major league staff. And then he spent a little time with the Cardinals. Supposedly Paul Goldschmidt had a help towards his MVP. I don't know how I feel about that one. Like, I'm not going to give him credit, but he was hitting coach when Goldschmidt was going ahead and had his MVP season with the Cards. So there might be something there. I'm neutral on it, but if he's a guy that they believe is going to help, sure, let's do it. I'm interested to see who the pitching coach is going to be, because if they went internal for the hitting coach, are they going to go internal for the pitching coach too, or are they still doing their due diligence? Last thing I'll say on it is that we have talked a lot, at least Peter and I have talked a lot about the fact that the Cohen Mets have been very hush-hush about things going on. And I think what was very interesting is that we essentially heard nothing about like them interviewing for these guys. And then all of a sudden we got the announcement of, by the way, we've got our bench coach and our hitting coach down. So I feel it's the same thing with the pitching coach. We've heard radio silence from them, and we're probably just going to hear an announcement. So I like that they're moving in silence. It's keeping a little bit of stuff out of the media stuff. to avoid extra stupid discussion. So we'll see. Very interested to see where they go with pitching coach, but right now I'm okay that they went through with this stuff pretty quickly. I don't suppose you guys have any strong opinions on Kai Correa or Jeff Albert, but I will throw the mic to you if you do.
Yeah, I actually did read a little bit about that Correa move, and he seems like a real rising star in the ranks. So I actually think that was a great move by the Mets.
Yeah, I hear Houston Astros organization, and yeah, you
And
lost.
Correa.
Yeah, and Correa, and you lost me on both of those. So best of luck. Get your trash cans ready, and it'll be a real banging time next year.
Yeah, I was messing with my Yankees fans. I made that same exact joke where I was like, "Listen, I know you guys hear Correa and Astros, and you start to panic, but I'm like, it's a different guy. I promise, it's okay. Get past the non-flashbacks. It's a different guy. Seems to be a nice guy. You know, he's coming out of the Cleveland organization and the Giants organization, and so it should be okay." On the Knicks side of things, one thing that actually sucked is that they signed Malcolm Brogdon to be their backup point guard, and he unceremoniously retired today, and so that was funny. So Malcolm Brogdon is definitely on a decline. His last season was his worst statistical season in the history of his career, and so there was a lot of talk about the fact that injuries have slowed his game. He's also missed more games over the last few seasons than played. And so I understand, like, the mind might be willing, but the body's not willing type of thing for Malcolm Brogdon. But it does suck that he was basically, according to Stephen Bondy, who reports on the Knicks, he was guaranteed a roster spot and he was going to be the backup point guard. And then today was just like, I am retiring. And so it works out kind of okay for the Knicks because they'll assign the roster spot to somebody like Landry Shamet again or Garrison Matthews, who's been a performer in preseason. The Mike Brown offense, by the way, has supposedly been taken too well by the team. I'm giving it until we get to real games. I am a big proponent of the preseason NBA ball. It's kind of like spring training. I don't like to get caught in narratives and freak out and be like, oh my God, they're going to do this, because it's just, a lot of guys look good in preseason or look bad in preseason, and it doesn't actually translate to the regular season. So we've got to see what it looks like. That being said, tip-off is coming in about a week for the NBA. This has been, in my lifetime, the Knicks season with the most expectations. So New York is going to be buzzing to see if the Knicks can actually make a run. I think they have the 5th shortest title odds compared to the Thunder repeating, the Cavs, some guys out of the West. So for the most part, there's a lot of pressure on the Knicks to perform. We're already down a backup point guard, which is hilarious. But we'll see. They lead off the season very soon, I believe. Let me just double check that before I say something wrong. The Knicks season opener is going to be next week.
Usually it's right around Halloween, so
yeah, it's Wednesday, so it is a week from today. It's going to be Wednesday, October 22nd against the Cleveland Cavaliers, and then on Friday, they're going to open up against the Celtics. So they start with 2 games at home against the Cavs and the Celtics. Those are 2 games that the Knicks can set the tone for the season with by winning, because the Cavs are their biggest competition in the East going into this year, with the Celtics being injured. And you can't allow the injured Celtics to come into MSG and beat you 2 games into the season of a new Knicks tenure. Going to be a really exciting 2 games to watch for Knicks to see what's going on over there. I'm hopeful, but as it is with the Jets and any of my other New York fandom teams, I try my best not to get too hopeful, because I know by now that it's getting expectations what really hurts me, as Luke was saying.
It's the hope that kills you.
Then you've got the week after that, you've got the college season tipping off with, St. John's coming out in the new AP poll, being a top 10 team.
So there's
got to be a lot of hoop excitement right now.
One of their highest rankings ever. There is a lot of excitement about the Johnnies, which I like, being local to it. So I will keep tabs on that. And of course, because I have to, UConn, for the sake of trash talking for the Collegiate Baseball League, because I've got to learn UConn things for that much.
Go Furries.
Go Furries, baby. Just call me Andrew McCutcheon. But No, I mean, yeah, that's what we got going on. I mean, the Jets and Giants, the Knicks, the Rangers. I don't know if I have to learn the Islanders to at least bring them up on the show, but the Islanders are not good, and they're coming off getting the first pick in the draft last year, right?
Yeah.
So they're going
In
to
the worst
continue,
year to have the first pick too.
and they're going to like
It's kind
continue
of
to.
like the Jets. It's kind of like the Jets getting the first overall pick this year.
Yeah, I think it's perfectly historically on point for the Jets to get the first pick next year for what is widely considered to be the worst quarterback draft in years. That's the way it's got to go for the Jets and the Islanders.
Hey, Luke, can I ask you a question so I can feel a little bit better about my life?
Yeah.
So Aaron Boone, how's that guy? How's that guy doing?
I think it was. Did we talk about this last week? But someone asked him.
Yes, you and I talked about this when it was you and me.
Are you going to be the manager? Are you going to be the manager next year? And he's like, "Well, I'm under contract.
I'm under contract." And I was like, "That's an outstanding answer."
Like, good for you. I'm glad you have a contract. That's awesome, man.
God, but we've hit our contracted legally allowed hour. But before I go to final takes, I actually want to bother you guys with something for the sake of content. I was having a discussion earlier in the week about the worst football or overall team name that you could think of in professional sports, because somebody said that the Commanders is the worst team name that they can think of in sports.
It is pretty bad.
And I disagree. I don't think it's the worst. So I kind of wanted to put you guys on the spot. It doesn't have to be football because we went into other like sports. But what do you think is the worst team name that you can think of in professional sports? And I mean actually bad. You know, like I hear like the Saskatchewan Roughriders. I'm like, that's amazing. Give me the Roughriders. Like, and Luke, you mentioned, yeah, you know, like you mentioned some good teams earlier. You mentioned like the Sabres. That is a cool name. Daddies. Yeah, like those are fun names. But can you think of any of the names that you think are appalling to you, like the worst team? Do you think
definitely the New York Jets?
The Mammoth, the Utah Mammoth is awful.
Mammoth is pretty bad.
There's a soccer team in the Swiss Super League that's called Young Boys.
Is it spelled like with like YUNG, or is it just
exactly the English spelling of Young Boys?
Just the Young Boys?
Yeah,
just Young Boys.
Hopefully that's not the Catholic League.
Oh, that's really funny.
There's a French. Well, this is actually a good team name in France. In the first league of France, there's a team named Brest.
Yeah.
Brest.
So like not breasts, like the breast.
Brest.
It's the city name.
See, but I like that though. Those are good names. Like,
it was a good name. Yes.
I might give you Young Boys as like one of the worst, because I know what I think the worst is. I think it doesn't get made fun of enough, right?
If you let me go first before yours, because I've said this one before. I think the Houston Texans is probably the stupidest name ever. Like
they should have been allowed to be the Oilers.
That is where I think that's the stupidest team name.
Okay,
ever.
Good. I'm glad we're in sync on that.
No, I agree with you, because I went to my friends and I'm like, listen to me. They do not get made fun of enough, right? Because if you had a team that was the Philadelphia Pennsylvanians or the Cleveland Ohioans, we would never let these motherfuckers live it down. Why are the Houston Texans exempt from like this kind of hate? The Texans is a horrible team. They should be the Oilers, right? But like if they're not the Oilers, the Texans has got to be the worst. Like I get people hating on the Commanders, but for me, the Texans is the worst organization name, because I would not allow it.
Is pretty bad too.
Utah Jazz isn't good either.
Los Angeles Lakers, if we're going to that, like
there's no lake. Yeah, exactly.
The Utah should be the Lakers. That'd actually be kind of because of the Great Lakes. The Utah Lakers.
You have the Stanford Cardinal.
I personally have a vendetta against that because that just feels uppity and arrogant. The Utah Jazz, I think, is criminal in a different way, I will say, because we were robbed the right of knowing what Mormons would name their team. You know, like I want to know what the Mormons the Mammoth, apparently, which is also bad. So like maybe the Jazz would be also because that's what we think of when we think of Salt Lake City, is the deep and rich history of jazz over there. But yeah, as that lightens us up, do you all have any final takes for the night? Peter, I'll go to you first. What would you like to say to wrap us up?
Sure, I do have a final take. So unfortunately, this is a bit of a sadder one. Nick Mangold a couple days ago tweeted out that unfortunately he has kidney failure and he needs a new kidney. Now, there is a little bit of a nice bright spot to this story where hundreds of Jets fans signed up to put their name down to, see if they're a match to get him a new kidney, which, besides the fact that he was probably the best Jet that's ever played in my lifetime, an absolute rock, probably the best center in the league during his time. It's just cool to see fans band together to help a player that really just gave them, his everything every Sunday for like 10 plus years. So it's nice that the fans are, doing that. And if anything, it just goes to show, Jets fan base is willing to donate to a former player to a kidney, and we can't even get an 8-win season. The Jets don't deserve their fans.
Ash, what do you got?
In honor of hoops season coming up, I have a prediction that the St. John's Redmen will win the Big East championship this year.
Wow.
That would be
Right in
really
front of me, right in front of me too. Like right in front of me, like Seton Hall, just no love.
Seton Hall. Okay, my other prediction is that the Seton Hall Pirates will have a new head coach.
Please. Golly, we suck. We're friggin' awful. We're so bad.
Shaheen Holloway will be gone.
I hope everyone at Seton Hall is watching this because we suck, and I
There's
hope we
room
get
on the Johnny's bandwagon if you want.
No, I will not. I'll go find some other. I'll root for Ole Miss basketball. Like
Do they play out in Newark?
Yes.
Yeah, they played.
They
played
Newark.
the Prudential.
Yeah. Because they used to play at the Meadowlands, right? Like in the old arena.
Yeah, they played, and then they played on campus. But God, that sucks too.
I think you were talking about Ole Miss for a second because I was so thrown off, and I was like, "Why the fuck would Ole Miss play in Newark?" And I'm like, "Oh, never mind. It's just making fun of Seton Hall again." I was like, "How badly is my college lack of understanding of sports?"
Oxford, they just don't have any basketball in Oxford. They got to fly up to Newark to go play basketball games. It's bad.
They have the money, but not the physical resources.
Yeah.
God help me.
Yeah.
Football and baseball is all they care about in Oxford.
That's right.
God.
That's right.
What do you have for final thoughts, Luke?
I got two things. I believe we had an anniversary this past week. I don't know, Ash. Do you know anything about that?
My wedding anniversary, if that's what you're going with, but that's not what I would have. That's not the angle that I would have taken for the show.
Can we please
when we go back and we have to like post production this, we have to like cut the edit. He's like thinking of like the anniversary of the butt fumble, the anniversary of the music miracle, the anniversary. Looks like your wedding anniversary.
Your wedding anniversary was this past week. But yes, congratulations on your anniversary. Wishing you both the best, and golly, I hope you do better with anniversaries. That was pitiful, man. We're gonna have to edit that and be like, I love my wife. Like, I'm so glad we're married for this many years.
Yeah, we'll just voice over it and just be like, it was the anniversary this week.
Your actions here will not get us out of the basement. Like, we are not. After this, we are definitely not getting out of the basement.
Luke pandering to his captors to get out of the basement, and we have to sit there and voice it over like Fairly Odd Parents. Like, hi, I'm Ash, and I love my wife, and I never forgot my wedding anniversary. Wow.
Who gave you a layup, Ash?
No, I will tell on myself on one thing. Twice when I've started jobs and filled out like the insurance paperwork for my wife and I put the wrong birth date down for her.
Jesus Christ!
So then she wasn't covered.
Oh my God. Ed, to answer your question, she does watch the show sometimes. Twice.
She does watch and comment.
It not only once, he did it twice.
No, I told on myself, so
fair enough.
I'm so sorry, Mrs. Ash.
My second point's a little is definitely more sports related. It's not necessarily New York sports. We saw the news over the weekend that James Franklin got fired at Penn State, which I think is really big news. Penn State is willing to pay $50 million for this guy not to coach their team. Like, I don't know where you guys sit on this, but this is the most insane thing to me. He took them to the college football semifinals last year, have been a consistently top 25 team year after year after year, and they falter this year. And Penn State just goes, you know what? We're going to take the state's money and we're going to put $50 million to not have this guy coach our team.
Well, it didn't come from the state, but
whatever. It's so frustrating for me. Like, that's the side of college sports that just really gets under my skin, is that they can put so much money to not having a guy coach a team. And I just feel like college sports and like just college institutions in general is just missing out on what they're supposed to be doing with their money. And that's investing in education and not investing in a guy not coaching a team. That's my rant for the week.
This is good. It defends me not watching college sports. I'm going to keep it lighthearted with mine because I saw this today and I thought it was cool. The Knicks released what would be their statement jerseys for the year. So it's going to be a little new jerseys. They broke down what they thought was different about it because they have the lights on the side, like the orange and blue, meant to mimic the Empire State Building when like the lights go blue and orange when the Knicks win. But one of the cute inclusions that is always a fun thing amongst the old school like Knicks fans is the phrase "once a Knick, always a Knick." And if you can see in the bottom right above the tag, they actually decided to print "once a Knick, always a Knick" with the orange font on top of it. And I'm like, you know what? I like that. You listen to the fans, you listen to our stupid little logo, and it's cute that it's on there. So I appreciate that. I think down the line I'm going to be looking to get one of these. I unfortunately am a weak man when it comes to the black, blue, and orange combo. I love the original black Mets jerseys, and I like the black Knicks jerseys too. I think the color combo works well as long as they don't change the piping like they did for the Mets. Hint, hint, please don't screw this jersey up. But I'm looking forward to getting one of these down the line. I think it'll be fun, and I'm hoping that Fanatics doesn't screw up the quality of this like they screw up the quality of many other things.
most other things.
That jersey's
Most
hot.
other things.
Yeah, I am. Ed is on your side there.
Thank you, Ed.
Either for college sports or for yelling at Ash about forgetting his wedding anniversary. Ed is on board with multiple things here. So but on that note, as we are wrapping up for the evening, as for myself, the hopefully non to be soon divorced Ash, and myself and Luke. Not again. Let's hope not again. That's the rule for this week. Not again.
Once is enough.
with all the love in our hearts, again, please subscribe to us if you can. TheBestDamnSports.com. You can find us on YouTube by looking up The Best Damn Sports. We always appreciate and are happy for your support. Have a good night. Thank you for listening. We will see you again in a week or so. Take care.